What up, YouTube? Team Movies here. With the passing of Hollywood legend Max Von Sydow today, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite Max Von Sydow movies because he's a legend. He's been some very countless films. I mean, he have he has a pretty cool list when it came to genre. I mean, he's done horror, sci-fi. He's even done comedy. He played a villain a couple times. So, with that being said, here are my top 10 favorite Max von Sydow movies. Alright. Number 10, I'm going to go with the film Need for Things. Now, this is based on a Stephen King book, and it's about this creepy older man named Leanne Gunn, played by Sydow, who ends up moving to a small town in Maine, and he ends up setting up this antique shop. But bad things end up, falling, and Gunn ends up having a remarkable ability of selling people exactly what they want the most and all. But his, ideal purchases also come with a price, and Gunn's manipulations, the citizens of the town end up being turned on one another and resulting in violence. And you've got Ed Harris, who portrays the sheriff here, Alan Pangborn, who's trying to find out what's going on and all that. And it is a really creepy flick. I mean, it's not really one of the best Stephen King adaptations or anything, but it's really good. Von Sydow, of course, was really great here. I mean, he played the creepy aspects really well here in this film. Ed Harris is pretty decent in this. Really good and creepy film. I mean, it got released in the early 1990s, and it's a really one of the most terrifying Stephen King adaptations there is. But yeah, definitely go check out Need for Things. You guys haven't seen that. All right. Number 9, I'm going to go with a very funny comedy, and that is Strange Brew. Now this is actually a comedy that stars and is directed by Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas, and you got Max Von Sydow, who portrays the main villain, who's the Brewmeister Smith. And here's what this film's about. It's where bumbling Canadian brothers, Bob, played by Rick Moranis, and Doug McKenzie, played by Dave Thomas, ends up working at a Elsinore brewery. And so they end up going on a quest for free beer, and so they end up uncovering a sinister mind control plot spearhead by the Brewmeister Smith, played by the aforementioned Sydow, and must stop the scheme and all. And you got Paul Dooley, who portrays the Uncle Claude, who's a member of the Kelsenor family. And I mean, this actually showed that Max von Sydow could do comedy really well. And this is from and Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas also appeared on that Canadian sketch series SCTV, I think it was called, which was like the Canadian version of SNL. But man, Strange Brew is more of a guilty pleasure. But it's really hilarious. I mean, a comedy about about a beer run, like beer run from hell. What more can you ask for that? I mean, it's really hilarious. Max von Sydow was great. If you guys haven't really seen Strange Brew yet, go check it out. I mean, it's a really good one. Alright. Coming in at number... Alright, coming in at number 8, I'm going to go with Extremely Wicked... I'm going to go with the film Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, which is actually based on a book, and it starred Tom Hanks, Sandra Bullock, and it also stars this kid named Thomas Horn, who was a Jeopardy champion back in the day, and he ended up losing his father during the 9/11 attacks, and so he ends up confessing that his dad had left him a final message and all. And here you've got Max von Sydow, who portrays this it's an old blind man that Oscar ends up being friends with and all that. And Max von Sydow actually scored an Oscar nomination for this, and well deserved it was.
Is Mom on the phone?
I mean, I don't see that was terrific, and this movie is actually much better than critics may actually made. Like, the film did not really get well received when it got released. Like, I believe it only has like a 45%. Like, it is actually one of the low, like, one of the rare times where a film with the lowest rating on Rotten Tomatoes ended up getting a nomination for Best Picture, but it's still pretty decent. Like I really like the cool scenes between both Oscar, played by the aforementioned Horn, and of course, see that was great. Sandra Bullock was also in this. You even had John Goodman as as a doorman, if you will. I mean, it's a really good one. It's directed by Stephen Daldry, who gave us The Hours. If you guys never really seen Extremely Loud, Incredibly Close, it's not really the best title, but it's actually pretty decent. All right, number 7, I'm going to go with Flash Gordon. Now, Flash Gordon is also more of a guilty pleasure of mine, but Flash Gordon, the movie, is just awesome. You got Max Von Sydow, who portrays the main villain, Ming, and I mean, Ming is probably one of the most coolest villains there is. And not to mention, had Sam Jones as the Tyro of Flash Gordon. Yeah, Flash Gordon is just, I mean, probably right now most people recognize Flash Gordon from, Ted mainly, but it's still great. I mean, Come to Ming. Who did not? I mean, the original isn't all that great, really, but it's actually pretty entertaining. It is very cheesy, like an 80s a cheesy sci-fi action film, and I guess you could call the character of Ming is like a mix of. This might sound weird, but the character of Ming is like a mix of Darth Vader and Hitler, Orange one. That's how you should describe the main character. But yeah, if you guys never really seen Flash Gordon, go check it out. It's a really good one. All right, coming in at number 6, I'm gonna go with 3 Days of the Condor. Now, this film was directed by Sidney Pollack, and it stars Robert Redford, who portrays this quiet CIA code-breaker named Joe Turner, who ends up walking into workplace, and also finds that one of his coworkers ends up being murdered, and he ends up fleeing the scene and tries to call the supervisors about the tragedy and all. And you got Max Von Sydow, who portrays a merciless hitman who's of course close on Joe's tail and all. And 3 Days of the Condor, it is a really cool conspiracy thriller based film. There's, I guess you say, political as well. Robert, not to mention Captain America, Winter Soldier that I released years ago. You could totally tell that this movie was influenced. That Captain America, Winter Soldier was influenced by 3 Days of Condor. But yeah, it's a 70s. Was it released in the 70s? Yeah, it's a really good 70s. Film. The 70s has some pretty interesting conspiracy thrillers, and 3 Days of Condor is a really decent one. Alright. Coming in at number 5, I'm gonna go with Never Say Never Again. Now here you got Max Von Sydow, who portrays the most iconic Bond villain, Blofeld, who's the fictional head of the global criminal organization Spectre. And now there's been loads of other actors who have portrayed Blofeld over the years, like Donna Pleasance is probably my favorite Blofeld portrayal. Of course, most recent Christoph Waltz played the role. But man, Max von Sydow really portrayed the Blofeld really well. Of course, he wasn't he didn't shave his head like Don Pleasance did. But man, Sydow really played the creepiest of cat petting character really well. And not to mention, Never Say Never Again also featured Sean Connery as James Bond. Of course, you had now. Fun fact, Connery was at Cedar was originally supposed to play the villain in Sean Connery's first Bond movie, Doctor No, but that never really came to be. So he ended up portraying Blofeld in Never Say Never Again, and it worked out perfectly. Really good Bond flick. Can't wait till speak of, can't wait till No Time to Die comes out so I can go ahead and make my favorite Bond movies already. Anyway. Number 4, I'm gonna go with The Verge of Spring. Now this is one of the few collaborations between Sydow and Ingrid. Ingmar Bergman. Almost said Ingrid Bergman. Totally different Bergmans. But anyway, yeah. And here you got Devote, Christian's Tor and Marissa, played by Sydow, and Brigitte Valborg, who ends up saying their only daughter, who's the virginal Karen, played by Bergerette Peterson, and their foster daughter named Ingrid to deliver candles to the distant church. And it is a interesting Christian based film. I mean, the girls also ended up encountering a group of savage ghost hers who, who ended up brutally raping and murder Karen. And it's a really intense film. I mean, it is crazy to believe that they actually got away with having a movie like this in like the 50s. Wait, was it the 50s or 60s? I can't remember the actual year it got released. But I actually saw this on TCM one time, and it's a really intense film. The one who plays Doris is pretty good. Max Von Sydow and Bertrand Valberg did a great job at this. I mean, if you guys haven't really seen The Verge of Springs yet, really go check it out. It's a really good Swedish film too. All right, coming in at number 3 is another. Anyway, coming in at number 3 is another Ingrid Bergman film, and that is The Seventh Seal. Now you've got Max Von Sydow, who portrays the Swedish knight Antonius Block, who ends up returning home from his crusades to find that his country is in the grasp of Black Death. And I mean, this is a really iconic 50s. This actually got released in 1957, and it's a pretty good one. I mean, it is both in Swedish and I haven't really seen many Swedish films over, like, to be honest with you, but this Girl with the Dragon Tattoo are probably two of my favorite Swedish movies there is. I mean, it is also pretty more violent than you expect for a 1950s film. It is full on black and white. You also got Niles Poppy, who portrays the traveling players, with BB Anderson, as the traveling player's wife. And it's a really decent one. I mean, probably one of Sydow's, I believe this was actually the movie that really put Sydow on the map for lots of people, and it's a classic one. If you guys ever really seen The Seventh Seal, definitely go check that one out. Alright. Alright, coming in at number 2. Hold on. Alright, stop that. Coming in at number 2, I'm going to go with The Greatest Story Ever Told. Now, there's been so many actors who have portrayed the role of Jesus Christ over the years, whether you talk about Jim Caviezel or who else played Jesus? Well, there's been a lot of great actors who portrayed Jesus, but not to mention William Dafoe portrayed Jesus one time. So there has been some really good portrayals of Jesus, and I think probably one of the best ones has got to be Max Von Sydow in The Greatest Story Ever Told. This is literally a movie that gets shown around Easter almost every year. You've got Charlton Heston as a John the Baptist, because Charlton Heston is he's been in a lot of religious movies. Ben-Hur, Ten Commandments, Greatest Story Ever Told. I mean, if you wanted a actor for your religious movie back in the day, Charlton Heston was the one you got. But this one is probably one of the best Bible-based movies there is. It is a film that tells the story of the life of Jesus Christ, and it is a interesting epic retelling. And Claude Rains as a King Harold is pretty great. Some really great cast members was in this. If you guys haven't really seen The Great Story Ever Told, really decent one. I mean, can you imagine them remaking this today? I mean, but anyway. Alright. My number 1 favorite Max Von Sydow movie goes to obviously the best one, The Exorcist. I mean, probably the best role of his career. You know, portraying the father, or the priest of Father Lancaster Marin, who is trying to save this possessed 12-year-old Reagan from an evil spirit inside her. And I mean, directed by William Friedkin, based on a book, which I always keep forgetting this is based on a book for some reason. But The Exorcist, it is one of the most freakiest movies there is. You're not going to want to look at Pea Soup the same way. And Max von Sydow, I believe he got an Oscar nomination for this, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But to me, this is one of his finest roles there is. Not to mention, you had Linda Blair as Reagan. You had Ellen Burstyn was in this. And I mean, you could also really actually buy Max von Sydow as a priest. Kind of funny that he played, I can't even remember this ever happened, but he actually portrayed Jesus Christ and a priest. I mean, how many actors could you ever know that ever portrayed a priest and Jesus Christ? Like, I can't even name any actors who portrayed both either a priest or Jesus. But anyway, yeah, The Exorcist is definitely one of the most creepiest movies you'll ever want to see, and see that really made this movie work. So yeah, if you guys have really, for some reason, never seen The Exorcist, go check it out. It's a classic one. All right, that's pretty much. Let me do the quick rundown. 10 Needful Things, 9 Strange Brew, 8 Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, 7 Flash Gordon, 6 3 Days of the Condor, 5 Never Say Never Again, 4 The Virgin Spring, 3 The Seventh Seal, 2 The Greatest Story Ever Told, and number 1 is The Exorcist. Now, there's been some other ones I probably could have added. Let's see. Other ones like Pale the Conqueror. The Conqueror is a pretty good one. Minority Report. He was in Star Wars The Force Awakens, which he didn't have that much of a big role, but he was actually pretty solid in that one. Let's see. He was in Woody Allen's Hannah and the Sisters. That was a pretty good one. He was also in Conan the Barbarian with Arnold, The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, which is another really good Swedish film. There's also the original Doom, Rush Hour 3, What Dreams May Come. This guy, I mean, he also appeared in The Exorcist 2, which The Exorcist sequels are not all that good, to be honest with you. But, yeah, holy cow, what a career this guy had. Anyway, let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite Max von Sydow movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This is Team Movies, and RIP Max von Sydow.